What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Extreme Truth Podcast. I'm your host, Jimmy Bones, and I'm here with my brothers, the Icon Legend Connection. So first, we're going to talk to my brother, James, the Icon Grant. What's up, bro?
Yo, what's up, Jimmy? And what's up, everybody? This is Extreme Truth Podcast, and I'm your boy, James Icon Grant, one half of the Icon Legend Connection. With Jimmy Bones. He's like Xavier out there, summing up. Yo, let's go, Jimmy. Yo, Legend, what you got for us?
What I got for you? Oh, I always bring my magic tricks. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's that original official one from the bricks. Legend Damian Simmons. Appreciate all the attention I've gotten recently. Yeah, Jimmy, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Tonight, I'm going to give y'all exactly what they all wanted. So I'm going to make some magic tonight. And do y'all believe in magic? If you do, get ready. I got a trick y'all will never forget. So thank you. Let's get extreme.
All right, let's get it.
Come on.
Hold up, Icon sidebar. Oh, yo. Now, I just want the people to know, like, since Legend Damian Simmons posted this up, he's been getting, like, hate mail out the ass.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it was that important. You know when you're getting somewhere when you have the hate mail. I'm like,
already.
I didn't know these people.
Already. And Legend even asked, hey, should I take it? I said, no, keep it up.
Hell yeah, we're keeping it up. It's funny because on the Extreme Truth page, it's all positive, like a 450 responses, this, that, whatever. But then on the Legend Damian Simmons page on Facebook, I'm doing the same app. And boy, you should see the comments. It's funny as hell. Check it, like and subscribe too while you're there.
So basically, Jimmy, Extreme Truth Podcast, we're good. They just coming straight for Legends ass.
Pretty much. But you know what? After this show is over, we'll see who they come after. They might come after all of us. Right.
But hey, I care about my loved ones more than the haters. So I appreciate you loved ones here. I appreciate it.
Yeah. All right, let's get it. As always, we're going to start with current events. We're going to do a very, very abbreviated current events this week. We're just going to jump right into this topic because I know a lot of people are going to have a lot of opinions on this topic tonight. So the first thing we're going to start with is for those that live in the Northeast, the governor of New York State, who led us through COVID, Andrew Cuomo, has resigned from office after multiple charges of sexual harassment.
Wow.
That's crazy to me that he was the hero. He was the one that led us through COVID. He was the one doing these press conferences. He's brought down by sexual harassment claims. I never saw that coming. I really didn't.
That's deep, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think one of his answers was, I'm not a harasser. I'm just Italian. Like, no.
Well, listen. Wow. All right. Number one, did he get convicted of any crime?
He wasn't. It was very close. And what happened is when he resigned, the probe was dropped. So
it makes you wonder, was this some type of plan? Or is there truth to all of this?
A lot of people are kind of wondering, like, why was it dropped so quickly?
Right. That means almost like you got something to hide, unless you're trying to do it for the betterment of whatever party you represent. Let me make sure y'all understand something. It's what I keep saying. Whether you're a Republican, Democrat, all those other things, religion, otherwise, there's good and bad in everything. There's always one spoiled apple in the bunch. So for you to think that everybody, like I said, hey, the man handled his business when it came with the COVID and the pandemic. You know what I'm saying? He was a leader, one of the tri-state leaders with us over here. So I definitely applaud him for all his effort. Like I said, a lot of the efforts of the other leaders. Like I said, that's why I was giving praise to Ras Baraka. You know what I mean? He definitely handled the handles down here during all that. You know what I mean? So a lot of people expecting North to wild out. Guess what? We did. It was actually some of the most behaved during the pandemic and sticking the rules. So you know what I'm saying? Like, seeing that guy coming back off, of course, I think people digged it up and probably encouraged these people to say what they're saying, but it's very odd timing. That's all I'm saying about it. So I'm waiting for more information to come out. But
it's interesting. We're going to see what happens with this because they dropped those charges, but there were other charges that might be coming. So we'll see what comes of this. We're going to skip around a little bit. I don't know if you all saw this. And this is something that we have been talking before about for weeks. We need to keep certain things away from children. And in certain cases, kids need to be allowed to be kids. And I'm for everyone being who they want to be, as long as what you're doing isn't hurting someone. But I'm against when you try to force your lifestyle on someone. The reason that I'm bringing this up is that it's recently come out that now Robin from the Batman series has come out as bisexual. Which, I mean, my question is, what's the point? As I said before, if you want to have LGBT characters to represent the LGBT community, great. I'm in favor of that if that's your goal. But why are they changing characters that are already established characters? Even though, in all honesty, we all thought Robin was gay anyway. But why?
No, only
why
you, Jimmy. Only you, man. Only you.
It was only me. It was only me.
Only you, man. Only you.
And the thing, he's bisexual. So you took a comic book character that a lot of kids are reading, I mean adults too, but kids as well, and turned them bisexual. My question is, why? What do you gain from that? Ledge?
This is my thing, right? I'm not really too for any of all this changing of classic characters that we have. To me, it's basically like you ran out of ideas. Why don't you make a totally new character that's bisexual? Make a totally new character that's black or Chinese or white now, or this, that, whatever. Why are you going and changing classic characters? That's the reason why I don't really read comic books anymore. I was heavy into it when I was a kid. But you got so many different areas, so many different changes. And now, like you said, Robin's gay or bisexual, and they're trying to make Superman black for the next movie. It's like, why? Like, just create new damn characters. You're messing with traditional ones. And I understand. We all know, like back in the day, everything was like whitewashed, if that's the term. So, you know what I'm saying? Every character was like white. You might have had a black person here, selling newspapers, or a black person here shining shoes or some shit like that. So I understand wanting to start to show more because, hey, this is a melting pot right now. You can't really go too much of anywhere and there's anywhere of one people. But it's like, okay, when you're changing these classic characters, sometimes I think it's just for ratings because they know people's going to talk about it. I saw the headline and I passed right by it because I actually thought it was a joke. I thought it was like one of these scandals. Like, okay, Robin comes out bisexual. Why? But that's just my opinion on it. I don't see why. What's the sense or what's the point in all that? Because they've changed a lot of characters bisexual and this, that, whatever. So I don't understand how changing Robin bisexual now is going to add to his plot.
And I believe that the new Captain America is gay.
No, you know what? That's just
I think the new Captain
America. Okay,
way to me. So
a few years ago, not even that long back, like a couple of years back, on Netflix, and all of a sudden I see a new version of Voltron. So that I'm thinking about the original Voltron, thinking about my childhood. So I literally watched the whole season, right? And
I tried.
Now, one of the characters by the name of Pidge, right, was always just a small little type of male boy, whatever you want to call it. All of a sudden, they changed Pidge to like a lesbian that was faking that she was a boy this whole time, and then one of the main characters end up being gay and marry at the end. And this is Voltron. And I'm like, my childhood just got all fucked up.
It makes you kind of wonder, I mean, what's the goal? I mean, at the end of the day, kids aren't really looking at sex. They're not really looking at...
No.
The argument that I've heard the most is, well, it's around them, they see it. But as a parent, you can kind of control that. You can kind of control, okay, well, I don't want my kids seeing this. They may see it in school, but they're not going to see this in television. Because television,
that's the problem. Because right now they're pushing all of that on these kids. So these kids see it everywhere they go. They're being taught in schools. They're seeing it online. Now they're seeing it in the cartoons. You know what I'm saying? And when we had a show about this, a topic similar to this a couple of weeks ago, where it's like, okay, like, you know what I mean? When do the parents or the home gets to teach their kids about these things before the outside world do?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you start forcing all these ideas on people should have freedom, but they should learn about these different choices that you make in life. Like sometimes you're a little bit too young to even be thinking about anything like that. These kids ain't even thinking about dating. That you're telling them about what sexuality is supposed to be or how to have sex, this, that, whatever. And it's like, okay, they're innocent. They're not thinking about that right now. So you need to give them time to mature into that and make their own decisions based on the knowledge that they know. You're teaching a lot of these kids so damn young, they don't even understand what you're teaching them. So what's the point?
Yeah.
Only thing I'm saying is this. I don't want us to seem like we coming off like we hate like
not at all
homosexual gay stuff that come out on TV. We're not saying that. We're just saying that it should be a way that a parent know like what it is that their child is about to watch instead of getting surprised at the end. You get what I'm saying? It should have some content that the parent know, okay, it's going to be this type of content, and let the parent know, and they can have a choice.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, my thing is like, you know what I'm saying? My thing, like I said, like the Voltron thing, right? To me, Pidge was like a little nerdy type of kid or whatever back in the original Voltron. So I actually had no problem with them turning him into what do you say, a lesbian or something like that?
Yeah.
Because to me, he wasn't that serious of a character. But when you're taking somebody as monumental as Dick Grayson, is that the one that's changing, or is it one of the other Robins?
I don't know. It's one of them.
Okay, because they're like 4, so I don't even know which one. I'm pretty sure it ain't Damian, but you know, any of the other ones is a toss-up. But it's just like, okay, so it seems like more shock value than there is substance to this, because I don't remember any time reading the comics or seeing anything on TV where he's acted in that manner, or even alerted to the point, other than the stupid outfit. You know what I'm saying? That's what made me wonder. You know what I'm saying? Batman series didn't help with Robin running around in that, but you know, other than that, never been no evidence that he was even thinking that way. So I don't know.
Yeah.
We see how it sells.
Yeah.
People talking, and that's the main thing. Yeah.
So we're gonna skip ahead. There was some news. This is something that disturbs me to even hear. We often talk about mental health, about people need to go to therapy, and if you see someone that's acting a little erratic, just try to get them help. Don't just assume, oh, they'll get over it. A California man who was a conspiracy theorist allegedly killed his 2 young children with a spearfishing gun because he believed that they inherited serpent DNA from their mother and they were going to turn into monsters. I don't know what to say, because if you look at pictures of this guy and his family, they look happy. They look like a happy family. They look like they're enjoying life. And this man became such a conspiracy theorist that he was willing to kill his children.
You got the picture, Jimmy?
I'd have to pull it up. I'd have to look for it. But
okay.
That's ridiculous. And it's sad. You know, definitely rest in peace to those young babies.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was going to make a comment, but there's not even nothing even to make anything slight about. That's really disturbing in all ways.
Yeah,
disturbing for the father to have those type of thoughts in his mind. That's why I encourage everybody to seek out mental health, just to have a checkup. There might not be nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with talking to somebody on the outside, just to make sure everything's okay. It's the same thing like they tell us actors and even people that work. They say go on interviews just so that way you'll still stay fresh, even if you're with this company 10, 11 years. It just keeps you practicing. Same thing with auditions. Even if you don't want the roles, just go on there so you can get the practice. So the thing with mental health is even more important than any of those things I just named. And it's a shame that this man had this fixation in his mind and killed two young ones. They don't even know what's going on with any of this. So they're innocent in all this. They can't fight back against a grown-ass man. It's really, truly sad. But this is reality. This sounds like something you'd read in the comic books or you'd see on TV or in the movies. This is reality, people. And there are a lot of sick people out here. And unfortunately, I don't think they're being encouraged to get help, and I don't think they're being offered help, and they probably don't even know where to get it from.
Yeah. It's a shame.
Yeah.
It's a damn shame. It's a couple more things I just want to get through. A Russian woman was at a party, got into an argument with a guest at the party, stormed out of the party, and then was attacked, dragged away, and killed by a family of bears.
What the fuck?
The way that the woman called police asking for help. The police showed up with dogs to try to figure out where she was. The dogs followed her scent, and then eventually they just found bear scents, and they found a bunch of bear tracks. So here's a tip: if you're gonna go to a wedding and you go into an argument, just go sit down somewhere inside.
But how? No. How do they know it was a family of bears though? Like
they found multiple bear tracks where her scent ended.
Did the Bears work for the facility for the wedding? Were they hired for the wedding?
They might have been security.
God damn people. Damn people.
I mean, that's not normal.
We talk about a loss of life, people. I lost a motherfucking life.
Probably hired bears just in case somebody got out of hand. You ain't got time to deal with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're cutting the cake, y'all doing the dance on the floor. You ain't got time for rude people. So
I mean,
you send the hotness outside and you got the attack bears.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, would you act if somebody had bears? Here's my question.
Nice.
Here's my pick. A lot of people, they have guard dogs. How would you react if somebody had some guard bears?
I'd react by not reacting. I wouldn't go over their damn house. They better learn how to do the Zoom because that's as close as they're going to see me.
But I mean, just imagine that. You go to the party, you walk out, man, I'm tired of this shit. Oh, a bunch of bears just drag you away.
That's fucked up, man. That's not... I mean, that's just fucked up, man. That's terrible. That's terrible. That's terrible.
The type of person when you piss off both human life and wildlife at a wedding?
Same time.
That's a special. That's a person you don't invite to things. Like you see, you don't visit them.
Okay, legend, but how did she piss off the wildlife?
Because then you got to stick the damn bears on. You ain't even got pit bulls. Like she must have been such a damn jerk. Like, nah, forget the pit bulls. Go in the damn backyard. Go get the bears. Like, god damn. Your ass died by being jumped by Yogi and Boo-Boo. Ain't that a bitch?
That's the worst way to go.
This is fucked up.
What a way to go.
Oh man. We getting ready to have the worst set.
Yes, Yogi. Let's kill the white woman.
Yogi, you see that chick? You see that rat chick went over there?
Yes, I do. And it's crazy. It's crazy. Bears don't normally eat people. They'll maul you. They don't eat you. They never found her body.
You sure was bears, man?
My bears.
Nah, for real.
What city was this in? Was it Chicago?
In Russia.
Oh, Russia. Well, yeah, Russia's on a whole different level, bro.
Okay, what family was this?
Whole extreme.
What family was this?
We name our show. We went to Russia because extreme truth is extreme enough. You know what I'm saying?
I want to know what family was this.
Bear costumes.
Pretty much. You talking about what family of bears?
No. What family did she piss off?
I can't even pronounce the name. It has like 18 letters in it.
Yeah,
probably connected.
Man,
I would tell them check to see if there's any circus in town.
That's what you call a Russian cover-up. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. I never see a real bear.
Nah, fuck that. They got her ass.
They had furs on. It wasn't no damn bears. Bear
traps.
traps.
Goddamn bears.
Those were Tim's traps.
They thought she was going to walk out like she got her like that. They got her ass. And they're going to say it's bears. Get the fuck out
they were
of
like,
here.
yo, let the bears to go walk around.
Right. While the wedding's going on with people and children.
Yeah. A whole family of bears, people and children, nobody sees shit.
And she's the only one that got attacked.
Yep.
Everybody knows it was a whole fucking family.
In the woods.
Fuck out of here.
And they saw the people before they put on their fur coats and all that other shit. And their balboas or whatever you call those things they hang out. Like I said, I've seen a story like this in the past, where they were wondering if a preacher dragged the boy away. And it's never been found to this day what happened to that boy. They don't know if it was like some what do they call them? When they're not naturalized, they like living in the woods.
Aliens?
No, not aliens. Indigenous, I think is the word. Forgive me if I'm wrong. But yeah, they thought it was this group out in this woods that snatched this boy up. All they heard was a scream, and they've never found him. And they think it's like a government cover-up. So, and they think it wasn't an animal. They think it was somebody wearing fur. So we
probably was
to the wedding.
She gets to an argument. She gets dragged away. Apparently, they say she was able to call the cops. And when the cops tried to find her, they traced the scent to a certain point and then just saw bear tracks. So I don't know what happened, but remind me to be real nice to that family if I ever meet them.
Right. I need you to text me the name once we're off.
Pretty much. We're gonna kind of finish it up with some unfortunate news. As many of you probably heard, there was a massive earthquake in Haiti. Thousands of people died. There's actually hundreds of thousands that are feared to be dead. So definitely our prayers are with them. This is the second one in a few years. The last one devastated the islands. And this one is bad too. It was a 7.2 Richter scale earthquake.
Mm-hmm.
That's really, really bad. So
Mm-hmm.
my heart really goes out to Haiti because they've been going through a lot between having their president assassinated. They've had riots, and now they have an earthquake. I really, definitely my heart goes out to Haiti. And if anyone here can help them out, please do. Whether it be donating money, donating supplies, whatever you can, they really need this right now.
Absolutely. And I have so many friends,
Absolutely.
that are either from Haiti or they go back and forth to Haiti or they're living here now. And I've had a chance to meet their families, friends. Like I said, when I moved down to South Florida, I would have never survived without my peoples down there. You know what I mean? So it always hurts me. And just to hear about these things, like you said, Haiti's been going through a lot.
Yeah.
From government, I'm still shocked over the government thing. Like, this is your leader of your land, and it was that easy to touch him. Yeah. So now we have this going on with the earthquake. I mean, definitely, they're all in my prayers. Y'all are all in my prayers. And hope things will get better from here. Definitely praying. Like I said, beautiful people, all the ones that I've ever met. So definitely prayers go out.
Yeah. And also want to give our prayers out to Africa. I just did a show this week in my other podcast called the Fall to Rise podcast. And for those of you that were there, you got a chance to hear from people that are in Africa right now about what's going on. There's actually 3 civil wars happening in Africa right now. 3.
Crazy.
Did I mute Icon? I think I muted you by mistake, Icon. Sorry. But yeah, there's actually 3 going on. There's one in Eswatini, formerly known as Swaziland. The people are protesting against the king. They're, from what I've been told, the king has a great deal of wealth and he spends it on himself and his family. Again, this is what's being reported to me by the people that we interviewed. And the people are living in absolute poverty. They have nothing. And apparently the king has been spending his wealth, again, on himself, on his family. I believe they said that every couple of years the king gets married. And it's, I believe, the only absolute monarchy still left in Africa, where they have a king that runs everything. So one of the guests that I spoke with over the weekend actually is from Eswatini, but they're currently in Kenya. And they were telling me that the government shut down the internet. So people aren't even allowed to report what happens. But based on reports that they're getting, people are being beaten up, shot, detained, bombed. We also spoke with someone from Nigeria, but there's a dispute right now between Nigeria and Biafra. So the people in the eastern part of the country want Nigeria to be known as Biafra. So there's a small war going on there. People are being shot, stabbed, kidnapped. And these are things that we don't hear about on the news. Right? Legitimately, these are things that we don't hear about. The episode should be up tonight that I did over the weekend. And again, this was me interviewing people that are in Africa on the grounds, telling me about this. So definitely my prayers go out to Africa, Haiti, and anywhere in the world that's struggling right now. They really, really need us right now.
Absolutely. Isn't it crazy that the government can shut off your whole connection with the world? Like that was scary. And I've heard about this because I do have friends that's over in Nigeria and over in the other parts of Africa as well. And when they mentioned it to me, I'm like, what? I'm like, is that legal? Is that even possible?
Yeah.
And then to hear from people going over there, through it, like, yes. Yeah. That's a very crazy thing to think about.
Yeah.
When people have that much control over its public. I don't know what needs to be solved, over there to get things going, but I'm praying for them as well. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, what I was about to say was, I'm just glad that Extreme Truth is bringing this to light, because this is something that is not known at all. I was blown away by the information and just, oh my God. So yeah. I'm proud of us, I'm proud of Jimmy. You understand what I'm saying? Because for talking to people in Africa and finding out a lot of information that us Americans just don't know because their internet is shut off, and it's crazy.
Yeah. Well, it's in Eswatini, their internet is shut off, and in Nigeria, their Twitter and social media has been shut off. I didn't know a country can do that. But yeah, it shut
That's
off.
what I'm saying. You're cutting off all your communications with the outside world. Imagine that, because we've seen movies about that.
Yeah.
So imagine, like I said, all this stuff is becoming reality right now, which is crazy.
Yeah.
That like I said, like that blows my mind. I definitely encourage everyone that's listening right now to check this episode out on Fall to Rise. It's on YouTube as well as Facebook, right? We posted there as well. We have an Instagram
it's
with
still
the
being
actual episode. Mm-hmm.
It's not up yet. It's still being edited. Part 1 of it should be out tonight, so we're going to release it in pieces so that you can kind of focus on a certain sections. But part 1 should be up tonight.
Absolutely.
So definitely.
Good job, Jimmy, on that. By the way, good job.
Thank you. Yeah, I had to get my journalism on.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's every episode of Fall to Rise. Where I always try to bring people's stories out. So let's jump into tonight's topic.
Yep.
Tonight's topic is a bit of a doozy. So I actually had to explain to people about the topic. Tonight's topic is about people that hide behind religion. Most of the people that contacted me, the number one thing they would always ask me is, why are you attacking religion? I'm not.
Right.
Well, why are you saying that religion is terrible? I'm not. Well, every religion isn't perfect. Agreed. But the religion is never the problem. The problem is the people. There are people that are doing terrible things in the name of God or in the name of religion when they know that that's not a part of their religion.
Praise
They're taking their own versions of what's going on
yes,
for their own personal needs. You about to get struck. Actually, you still gonna get that knock on your door at 3 a.m.
Yeah, thank God I'm downstairs. I don't want no smoke, literally or figuratively, or religiously.
You might get all 3. You never know.
That's my lucky number, right?
Get struck by lightning. But
hey, Jimmy, that's why I got you, Jimmy. We all know the situation, so I'm good.
I know a couple people. I got some friends got some friends.
All right.
But when we talk about this, we talk about those that are that are doing these terrible things, because one of the main things about when you become religious or when you join an organization that's for good is you're supposed to change too.
Right.
You're supposed to do things in a better light. You're supposed to do things to help yourself and to help others. But there's some that get that power and they exploit it. They abuse it. There was a time that I used to go to church many years ago. And I went because I liked the message that the pastor was giving. I said, hey, you know what? Yeah, let's love each other. Yeah, let's help each other. Yeah, let's help the community. I was with that. And he said one day they said that they were going to a rally. And I said, okay, what's the rally for? Oh, we're going to protest against gays getting married. Now, I don't really have a dog in the fight. But my thing is, that's not your position to determine that. They said, oh, well, God said it's an abomination. Well, let God handle that.
Right.
That's not your job to go out there. And they're out there with signs and they're ridiculing you. They're booing them. And I'm saying, but what you're doing is terrible. You're literally affecting people's lives. You're embarrassing them. You're making some of these people suicidal because you think that you have this power. One of the things that I've heard religious people say is, oh, God has placed this power with me. No, he didn't. You went to school run by a man and they gave you a nice collar or a long robe. That's it. It's it. I mean, you have, and unfortunately, if it was just these people, like these leaders, that would be bad enough. But the problem is you have people that follow them. There was a guy named Peter Popoff. If anyone's up at 4:00 in the morning and watching BET, you've seen him. So he's a guy that's out there selling prayer spring water, prayer oil, prayer cloths, prayer paper towels. And on the commercial, they're saying things like, oh, I prayed to Peter Popoff and I gave him $800 and I woke up the next morning and it was $75,000 outside of my door. And he's just looking like, really? And then there was one episode, and I'll never forget it, where he said, if you think you can't donate, you can. I have people that are on welfare and they're donating to me. And you're looking at this man exploiting these people under the guise of, I'm religious, I'm doing this for God. No, you're not. And then you have some of the, and I know this is probably gonna hurt some feelings here. a lot of the most judgmental, backstabbing, backhanded people that I know are the ones who are in the church every Sunday, hooting and hollering,
Get him, Jimmy.
Singing gospel. And unfortunately, they're the main ones that not all. So I'm not going to say all, but a lot of the ones that I've met are the ones that are hooting and hollering on Sunday. I think that just because they can quote a Bible verse, that it's okay for them to judge others or for them to condemn people. So somebody's already telling me careful. Oh,
Right.
I haven't gotten started yet. Yeah, I specifically said not all. Some. So a lot of the ones that I know are like that. So a lot of the people that I know that are doing those things, they're the ones going to church on Sunday, hooting and hollering, reading their Bibles, and they'll shake a Bible at you in a minute. But they're gluttonous. Yet they're judging people. Yet they're attacking people. And that's not godly. But they think that because they go to church and because they're religious, that they're good, they're absolved. They're on a higher level because they go to church, because they're godly. Again, okay, I'm not saying all, but some of the ones that I've met.
But okay, Jimmy, let's take it up a notch, though. Let's take it up a notch. Okay, sure. So what do you feel? What is your thoughts on Joel Osteen?
I think that he's a very good motivator. Yes, I think that he gives very good motivational speeches to his congregation.
Okay.
I mean, he's talented.
Do you think he hide behind religion? Put you on that spot, Jimmy. Let's go.
Do I think that he hides behind religion?
Yes. You talk about people that hide behind religion. You know.
I don't know that he hides behind religion because I haven't really heard of that many negative things that he's really done.
Okay. But I know it's something that you didn't like, so that's why I brought it up.
Well, yeah, there was an issue when they had the hurricane. I believe it was Rita. His church was locked, and a lot of people were trying to get into the church. And people were saying, well, your church is a basketball arena. His church is the building where the Houston Rockets used to play. People are stranded. Why were your doors closed? You know, was it that you were more worried about people breaking in and stealing, which legitimate concern? I completely understand. So the question then becomes, well, are you a pastor or a businessman first? I don't know the answer to that. I don't. But again, there's a lot of people out there. I know someone who, I'm trying to be careful with my wording on this, who came out as gay, and they were disowned by their mother because their mother, who was very popular in the church, couldn't be seen with a gay son. So this person is shunning their son, but then going to church hooting and hollering every Sunday, pulling out their biblical verses, saying that they're living a pious life. So y'all see Larita's comments, it's a personal issue. Yeah, of course, all of these are personal issues. Again, the thing is that we're not attacking religion. I think that's the confusion. I think that people sometimes believe that if I attack someone of a certain religious order that's doing something, the feedback that I usually get is, well, no, that's that one person, but that's the point. That one person does not represent the entire religion. So I don't think that anyone should get offended if I'm saying this person who claims this religion is doing this, because this is the individual. But unfortunately, and I think that's one of the biggest issues is, I think that sometimes people from religions just band together. So if you say, hey, you know, that church is doing such and such, that's terrible. Oh, why you have to attack the church? Well, that physical building with those people inside of it that represent the same religion that you're claiming are doing a terrible thing, and you should be condemning them the same way that I am. But sometimes people, they confuse it, they conflate it, they tie it together. They sometimes forget how to separate the person from the religion. One person cannot represent an entire religion. People need to sometimes realize that. You can't represent a whole religion, whether you do good or bad. And we need to learn how to separate the ones, if you are doing bad, say, okay, this is a bad person. I don't have to defend them because they're the same religion as me. Because you have some people out there, some of these fake faith healers, or some of these pastors that are out there saying, oh, I need all of this money for my private plane so that I can preach the word. And people are out there making excuses. Oh, well, they probably just need to do it because they say something that makes me feel good. No, what they're doing is wrong, and people need to learn how to condemn them. So I know I took up a bunch of time. So, Led, you got any opinions on this?
Yeah, you had some juice for that ass, Jimmy. I mean, you know what I mean? I thought I was about to hear the choir behind you or some shit. You know what I'm saying? I was waiting for that shit. Yeah. Okay, what you got, Legend?
Wow. So let's see where to start this one at.
Mm-hmm.
So first and foremost, let's all make sure that we understand we're all human, right? We're all human beings. So we're capable of sin. A lot of us do sin. And a lot of us try to correct ourselves with that, because we want to live a better life or what we perceive as a better life.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, like I said, at one point I went to work at a church. I worked at several churches. But I went to work at a church because at that point in my life, I wanted to get more into religion. I didn't want the spotlight on me, right? Because at the end of the day, one of my phobias of church is every time I used to go to church back when I was young, and I want to sit in the back, I just want to hear it because I'm not used to going to church. I don't know when you're supposed to get up and drink the wine and chew the bread or whatever. Like, I don't know none of that. Because unfortunately, we rarely went to church when I was a kid, and my mother wasn't into Christianity. She had a whole different religion. That's a whole nother show. Trust me, we'll talk about that eventually. So every time I would go in, somehow the spotlight would be put on me. And, come up and testify, or come up and do this, come up and do that. I'm like, okay, I don't even know what's going on. I don't want to embarrass myself. I just want to be here and listen to the word. So I thought maybe by going and working at a church, I could kind of figure out a better way of how religion is and how it works, kind of like from the outside looking in, but I'm inside. When I tell you some of these people were getting down and dirty worse than the people I knew out in the streets, like, it was kind of a shock because I'm like, wow, I was coming here for the opposite effect, like to draw me into. But I'm looking at some of these people in high-ranking positions, and then at some point they were offering me those same type of positions, and I'm just like, why? No, like, I work here, but I wouldn't. I've been offered several positions in life, with different ministries and things like that. At the end of the day, I know what I am. I know what my worth is. So I'm not in a leadership role when it comes to that type of things. I'm more still learning and things like that. To me, there has to be balance. Y'all always hear me say this, right? Balance. So when you go to these different churches, all these different people, you have to take in what they're saying and apply it to your own life. Because one of the ones I hate going to listen to is these preachers that be up here, pastors, and they're preaching like they've led the totally great life. They've been perfect. They didn't have sex until they were married. They didn't have children until they were married. They never looked at this. They read the book. They went to Sunday school. Half of them are the biggest devils that you'll meet. And somehow they made it in without their feet burned. So probably why they wear high heels. I don't know about the guys. So, what I'm saying? At the end of the day, what I'm saying? These are the people that's telling you like everything's good. Like they're not going out now and going to be sleeping with somebody in the chapel. Now, let's make sure we understand. On the flip side, I met people that's very dedicated to the religion. Very dedicated. What I'm saying? They show that in and out. Know them personally on the outside. So, and these people, religion is helping them. You know what I mean? It gives them some type of guidance. And that's why I say with religion, with the Bible and everything like that, you have to have some type of guidance. You have to read that, but you have to interpret that. Those are different times and different people going on now. So now we're in the real world, you're in your world. You might not be in the same situation as the scriptures that's reading. You have to take the what do you call it? The lessons from them scriptures and apply it to your current situation if you can. Now, when it comes to these others, right? And you can include the pastors in it. You can include the relationship therapists that's popular online right now with YouTube. You can include the spiritual coaches and this one and that one and all these other people. And people look at them like godly figures. They hang on every word that they say because what they're saying has to be true. These people do not have power unless you give it to them. So we're talking about the cancel culture and this, that, one for what? Why? Because somebody's listening to this particular person speak and they're following what they say. What are you canceling them for? Because if they don't follow this individual, they're going to follow someone else. Because unfortunately, some people are just made like that. They don't know how to lead. They just follow. So if you don't give these people this power, which means, I'm sorry about the noise in the background. Okay.
Somebody from the church.
Take that shit to the shop. Like, I don't know why they didn't get that point. You can take that shit to the shop. I can still hear him. I think he's like 3 blocks away. Yeah. Hopefully you can edit that out, Icon. Anyway, you know what I mean? When you give these people this power, this is when these type of problems exist. You know what I'm saying? the Kevin Samuels, the Omar Johnsons, we say Peter Popoff, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Like I said, all these people, if you give them the attention or whatever they need, then that's when power is observed. Because then people see, oh, this person's listening to him. That person, oh, well, I think that person's cool, so let me listen to what they're saying too. Maybe they're going to change my life forever. So you can't blame the people. And that has the power. You have to blame the people that's giving them the power. Yeah. Icon, that's all I got to say.
Yeah.
I know when we decided we was going to come with this topic, I didn't know how to approach it. On the other hand, what I'm hearing is like, is people hiding behind religion, or is they just backsliding, or are we forgetting that these are just human people and you got some good and you got some bad, and it just so happens that, you know, some people use religion for another form of control or dictatorship. And that's what I think that we was originally pretty much talking about, when people hide behind their religion, when they're preaching something else, but they doing other negative stuff for their negative gains. So those type of people, you know, are just bad people, or some need to be arrested for some crimes that they are doing, especially behind religion. If you think about the Catholic Church and all the sex allegations that was covered up, you know, that's another extreme topic of hiding behind your religion, you know, preaching one thing and being this, but covering up cases after cases after cases and keeping it on a hush when you're supposed to show the truth and show the light, you know. So stuff like that. When you mention, you know, people hiding behind religion, that's what I think of. I think of people that use religion and put it in the forefront to cover up and do whatever nasty, dirty shit that they want to do.
And unfortunately, you have some people. You have a lot of people doing that. Like, I don't know if anybody remembers the Westboro Baptist Church. They were the ones that were out there. They got fame because they protested the funeral of Matthew Shepard, who was a gay teenager who lived, I believe, somewhere out in the Northwest. He was beaten almost to death and pretty much left for dead in the woods, and he was found chained to a barricade or tied to a barricade when he later died. And because he was gay, this church went out there and protested at his funeral with signs that said things like, "Matt is in hell. Thank God for dead babies."
Wow.
This is happening because of gay marriage.
Wow. Terrible.
Start to read your Bible now. So these are pastors and church members that are doing this. And what happens, unfortunately, is whenever I say these things, or I think that whenever people say things about these people, because technically these people are pastors. These people are individuals that are a part of a church. One of two things usually happen. One of three things. People either get offended and always say, well, that's just them. They don't represent the entire church. Or they try to defend the person because they're the same religion as them, or they call the person out for being wrong.
And now just to piggyback off of that, right? See, the problem is when you're on the outside looking in, you think this person represents everybody else. You're like, well, damn, this person going to church every Sunday and doing whatever. Then they over here sleeping with this one and smoking and drinking and stealing and doing whatever. And then you everybody's like that in the church. You're like, what the hell am I going to church for? I could do that on the outside. Right. Yeah. I'm sorry, Jim, didn't mean to interrupt if you have
No, it's all good. And the thing is, it's a lot of good people in the church. There's definitely a lot of good people, but my brother, prime example.
Absolutely.
This man completely changed his life around, has been abstinent for 5 years, does not drink, does not smoke, is charitable, lives a biblical type life. And I lump him in with the religious people, but the people that we're talking about today are those people that, again, are doing these terrible things. And they're saying it's in the name of God. It's in the name of Jesus. It's in the name of Christianity. And I think that these people need to be condemned. We need to stop saying oh, well, it's not the entire religion. They're just struggling. No, these are bad people. Just say it. These people are bad. These people are doing terrible things. So if you see someone that's out there and they're gossiping about someone behind their back during the week, I used to go to church when I was a kid, and I would see these people. Look at their head. Look. I heard they going around sleeping with such and such a husband. Praise the Lord, sister. Like, no, that's not right. Or again, one of the things that pushed me away from the church was the whole gay marriage thing, because I have friends that are gay. And when I went to this church, and this was a big thing, I think during the 2008 election, the whole gay marriage thing, like I understand you can have your views on a certain lifestyle. I completely understand. But when you as a church are saying, we're going to protest, when you are as a church or as a entity are saying, as I believe the evangelicals did, to a presidential candidate, if you allow gays to get married, you will not have our vote. That's hiding behind your religion. You're hiding your own personal, I guess, homophobic views under the guise of your religion.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, if you have an entire organization, you can't just say it's the individual. That's a lot of individuals. So, I want to open it up to everybody. One thing, please we want everyone to be respectful of each other. We don't necessarily want this to be a debate. We want it to be a conversation. Whether you agree or disagree, that's great.
Speak your mind.
Yeah, speak your mind. If you have a question or a comment, please use the hand raise option. You hit the more button on either the top or bottom of your screen. And once you hit that, there should be an option to raise hand. Use that. Again, if you disagree, that's great. We can discuss it. But the primary thing is we need to be respectful of each other. Nosa, what's going on, sis?
Hey. Yeah, hey. Yes, I had two experiences. Well, I had multiple experiences with Christian people that call themselves Christian, but in actuality, I guess they're hiding behind that religion, which is fine. It's fine, but at the end of the day, it's wrong. And I'm going to call you out on it. All right. I've been dating, and every time I meet a guy that tells me, oh, he's Christian, he go to the church, he's singing in the choir, I get automatically turned off because I already know the BS that's going to follow after that. Let me explain. I went on a date with one, and he asked me to come home with him that night. I said, no, brother, I just met you today. I'm just getting to know you. Since I told him no on the sex part, in fact, he asked me multiple times, come home with me, let's hang out and get to know you. I said, brother, I'm a little bit tipsy. I told you no. I'm good. And after I told him no a couple of times, you know what? All right, no problem. I haven't heard from him since. Another experience is a female at my job. Before the pandemic, me her was cool. But then only my me is that I'm not gonna hate her. If a woman is beautiful, I say, oh, you're pretty, I like your hair, I like your outfit. Compliment a female up and down. She spent a rumor at the job that I was gay. And then my friend said, oh no, I didn't say that about you. My kid is on and you ain't gay. I said, why you telling people I'm gay? I didn't say that. But you're a Christian woman, praise the Lord, praise the Lord, go to church every Sunday, be talking about me, lying on me, say I'm gay. So yeah, I'm not beat.
Yeah.
And I get it. And it's sad because I'm somewhat the same way too. I still try to keep an open mind, but y'all know, just in case for people tuning in that don't know, for a few years, seemed like I was battling the HTTC, the Holier Than Thou, the Holier Than Thou congregation. Because it's like for this certain time, all the women that was coming in my direction or trying to date, they were all like religious, which I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe I need that type of balance in my life. I don't mind. You know what I'm saying? I like going to church. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind learning about religion and things like that. But what's been a constant problem with the Holier Than Thou congregation, which is why I don't deal with the Holier Than Thou congregation, because they're ones, number one, that want to live like, they want you to live even more spiritual, I say, or more cleaner than they're doing. So anything that they do that's against what you practice in the Bible, it's okay because they're doing it. But don't let me be sitting there making myself a drink trying to watch the fights. Don't let me sit there and eat shellfish, or don't let me sit up there and do a lot of things because it's against crime. And it's like, okay, you met me like this. I have no problem with somebody kind of giving advice. Maybe you want to, hey, I'm not perfect. Maybe I need some advice about bettering things or bettering my life. But when you're trying to totally change me and wipe me out from what I am and give me this whole new personality, no, thank you. And once again, those are also things that turn people off from religion. Because when people you're trying to get more involved, they push you away with the way they act.
Well, that's kind of, pushing a religion on someone and hiding behind religion is slightly different.
Yeah, but if you're no, but what I'm saying is, how are you pushing something on someone else and you're not living the same way? I'll tell y'all a good example. One time I was dating this woman. Now, when we first, and we dated off and on for years. When I first dated her, she, I don't even know if she was going to church. I mean, she went here and there, but cool, whatever. And Icon and Jimmy, y'all know exactly. You probably don't know who I'm talking about. Y'all know who I'm talking about.
I definitely know.
Right. So years later, we hooked back up again, and now she's into the church. Now, holy of this and holy of that, whatever. Mind you, now, still fornication going on, right? But every time I pick up a drink, well, it says in the Bible, you're not supposed to drink liquor. I'm like, I don't remember seeing the word liquor or vodka in the Bible. What are you talking about? I'm like, if that word, I'm like, but okay. Then it was about the shellfish. Oh, you know what I'm saying? You shouldn't eat shellfish. So when we went to a barbecue and I see the damn lobster on there, I'm like, okay, so are you going to get up, stand up on the table now and tell everybody not to touch that damn barbecue over there? Because you're riding me about eating shellfish. And people, make sure you understand, I actually did give up the shellfish. I gave up the shellfish. I gave up whatever. When she started bothering, I'm sitting down watching wrestling and shit. And you come in, I want to study the Bible. This was a few girlfriends that did this to me. Oh, so you want to study the Bible, have Bible study. I'm sitting there with a drink in my hand. And it's like, I have no problems doing that here and there. But right now, I'm just chilling. I got off of work. I'm relaxing. I'm not even going to retain anything that we're going to go over. But it's like they change you. You know what I mean? They try to change all these things, but not willing to change themselves. So with this particular girlfriend, when she started beating me over the head with the Bible, I told her, you know what? When I go at something, I like to go hard. So guess what? If you want me to convert completely over, guess what? We're not supposed to be having sex until we're married either. So let's cut that out too, because I'm not going to be phony. I'm not going to be halfway in, halfway out. So after we had sex, you know what I'm saying? The point wasn't brought up again. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying.
But Legend, I'm sorry, dog.
Promote this thing out there, but when it comes down to your sacrifice and what you're supposed to do, then well, that's okay. It's all right if I do this. It's all right if I get my freak on a little bit. Okay.
I understand what you're saying, and I understand that the Extreme Truth Podcast and Productions have to put money aside for you to go to that person. I say that's real good. You can sit on the couch and just express everything that you need to express. But I understand what you're trying to say, but I really don't feel that's really somebody hiding behind religion. That's somebody trying to knock you upside the head with religion. That's something totally different, Legend. I gotta disagree with you on that one, man.
Well, I don't, because when you start giving these people this power, that's when they start.
That wasn't.
It starts off on a small level like this, so it starts off in relationships and family and friends.
But that girl didn't have no power. But that girl didn't have no power over you. I mean, shit, you were just fucking her. What power did she have?
Friends, whatever. She would have had power over me if I allowed her to. She almost did. There's a couple of girls. I'm like, okay, so maybe I'm living the wrong life, and I was trying to be open for change. But when you're changing everything that I enjoy, and that's me, and this is the way you let me, there's a difference.
Shireen got a hand up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna kind of piggyback off of Icon. I mean, you can only do so much when someone controls you. I mean, I was dating a guy, went halfway around the world with this guy. I mean, he knew scriptures and all this stuff, and every time we went to dinner, he was reading out the scriptures. But again, he
a guy around the world. So what? Y'all never saw?
No. I'm sorry. I was dating a guy. I was dating a guy, and he paid for a full trip to go to Punta Cana. So, we were talking for a couple months, and stuff he seems like a real nice guy and all this stuff. To make a long story short, I mean, he knew all the scriptures and all that stuff, but he was totally rude to the staff. I mean, he would, I can't remember what I did. I think I was joking around, grabbed his hand. He's like, wait a minute, you're trying to have sex with me? I'm like, sir, you know what I mean? Where is this coming? You know what I mean? You're talking about all this, scriptures and all this stuff. And you're talking about, I'm hitting at, doing all this stuff, okay, but I mean, I didn't really let him control my mind. I was just like, sir, okay. I mean, I go to church and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, I mean, my faith is different because of what I've been through. You know, I've had, I was almost, choked to death. You know, I've had 2 hip replacements. You know, I broke my neck when I was 15.
Did preachers do that? Did pastors do that?
Do what? Do what?
Break your neck.
Oh, no, I was just making it. No, I haven't got to the point yet. I haven't got to the point.
Okay, get to the point. We talking about the pastors, the preacher. Give us some meat.
Okay. I mean, I was gonna get on that later, but
your ass ain't gonna take over the whole show. I want your ass to get to the motherfucking point.
Okay, we'll get to the we'll get to the point. Now I just kind of lost what I was saying, but I'm gonna but let's erase that. Anyways, at the end of the day, I'm not a person to hit someone over the head with the Bible. I don't do that. You know what I mean? I have my own way that I do, but I don't ask, like if I'm dating somebody, hey, you got to go to church with me. If that's not your thing, that's not your thing. It's not going to change the whole thing. You know what I mean? It's my thing. You know, I'm going to respect the way you are. And if you can respect the way I am, you know what I mean? I have a great pastor. I mean, she has helped me through, a lot of things, I got, so, she's a gret lady, so I have a great, church that I go to, but I don't try to throw things at people and stuff like that. I don't, and it's sad that some people try to do that. They do hide behind it. I've had a lot of people just like, God told me to, that it was okay to hit you. No, it wasn't. Where's that, sir? Let me find the, you know what I mean? So
I feel okay. Because I'm hearing these scenarios and I'm just not clicking with the term of it connecting to hiding behind religion. For instance, let's say I date a woman that preaches, right? And we having sex without marriage, right? But she's still doing what she's doing. And everything, and she tries to convert me over to her religion or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, we're sinning. Now, I don't call that hiding behind religion. I call it motherfuckers ain't perfect. Shit.
See, when I say, I think that let me try to clarify. When we say hiding behind religion, I mean people that are still doing terrible things, and they're trying to keep their hands clean. But no, not that. But I'm saying like in general, like terrible things. They try to clean their hands, I guess you can say, by showing the Bible, showing the Quran to you. Right. I'm doing this in the name of God. Like I think that as with being Christian, as with any organization, not just religion, any organization, you have certain people that will join organizations just for the clout of saying, I'm a part of that group. Whether it be a religion, whether it be fraternities, whether it be other social clubs. And if that group has a certain amount of power, people will sometimes join just to say, hey, I'm a part of that. I'm better than you because I'm a part of that. And when you're joining these organizations, your morality should change. You as a person should change. But you have certain people that aren't doing that. They're joining these organizations just for the power, just to condemn you. If, like, for instance, we see it quite often with politicians. You have certain politicians that will say, well, I'm not going to approve this law because God told me not to. Well, that's cool. But I have science here. And maybe we can debate the two. And there are those that do that. I mean, that's kind of what I wanted.
Well, that's not hiding behind religion, really. That's just being stupid.
Well, no, because you're hiding behind the power of religion. Because you're taking someone's fear. Because people at times equate religion and God together, and they're not necessarily the same. So people have this reverence, this fear, this view of infallibility of religion. And if you're saying that you're coming in the name of this religion, who you claim represents God, you're not going to question it because you're afraid. Like, I used to hear this stuff growing up all the time. Don't question God. You don't want to upset God. And I've seen people question a pastor, and I've seen a parent say to a child, you don't want to question God. You got to be careful. And I'm questioning the person. I'm questioning the organization. So again, sometimes people need to learn that there's not there can be a difference between religion itself and your pursuit of God. They're not necessarily the same, because at the end of the day, there's been a lot of changes and infiltrations into religion by man. I mean, that's a conversation a lot of people aren't really ready to have. One of the questions that people will always throw at me is, oh, the Bible, the Bible, the Bible. Great. But do you know about the Council of Nicaea? When the Bible was put together by a group of men and they decided what books went in and out of it. Or would you like to talk about the Inquisition, where people were forced to become parts of different religions? Mm-hmm. That's an example of hiding behind religion. Like, you're harming people in the name of this, even with a lot of these terrorist groups that you have overseas. They'll yell Allah Akbar and then chop your head off. You're saying God is the greatest, but let me kill you real quick. But I'm doing this in the name of God. Mm. So I think that we sometimes need to learn how to separate the religious aspect, which I think is partially the human version, from the actual spirit of God. So you have the old term, your body is a temple. So pretty much your body should be the church. So we need to stop giving so much power to these church members, to these pastors, to these churches, to these organizations. Stop giving them so much power. I think that we give too much to them. iPhone, you have your hand up?
Yes, hi.
Hi.
My name is Elisa Eki, and I've been a member of a church called Deeper Life. I'm gonna name names. I don't care whoever. So they are a Bible-based church, and I've been a part of that church for a very long time, maybe like 15, 16 years.
Sure.
I'm married with a Nigerian who was a part of the church. It's an African church. And 30 states, 5 international, just recently, including Alaska. And I walked away from the church. The church left me with a bad mouth. And when I say church, I meant congregation, pastors, stuff that a lot of pastors did just to cover up with one pastor. I think a lot of pastors cover up of being a pastor because of the things that they do, like womanizing, use it to con other people, older women out of houses. I've had a pastor who got arrested, because he tried to cheat an elderly woman out of her home.
Wow.
Church is because my pastor touched a 14-year-old girl breasts. And they try to make it look like I talked her into saying it. And church, and I took the word of the girl because I was the only one. I stood against 30 other states where Deeper Life pastors coming, having meetings, and I'm getting insult, my family getting death threats and all that stuff. But I said, you know what? I'm not going to let them pray me out of church because they can only going to say, prayers work and blah, blah, blah. I stuck with the church a year after they tried to force me out, only because I wanted to prove that fall and die prayer don't work. And it just left a bad taste in my mouth. It's been like 7 years and I never stepped foot back into a church again because, pastors, I know there are good ones out there. I have a good friend who's a young pastor. He's really good. But you got majority of them that just cover a lot of stuff for what they're doing. And not everybody is called by God. And that's what a lot of people
recording at pot.
Hang on 1 second. Yeah, I'm sorry.
She wants to interrupt? She can.
No. It was someone came into the room and their mic was on. So again, I'm sorry.
Okay. It's just a bad experience for me. And not saying that I would never step foot back into one, but got a lot of devil worshippers, and it's amazing. That's all.
And you know what? I thank you for that comment. There are a lot of great churches. Again, my brother restored my faith in faith leaders because of how much he's changed his life around. He came on my podcast. He was my first guest, and he actually came on multiple times, and we laughed at life turnaround, and he feels that God changed him. And again, I think that is very possible. But again, we sometimes equate religion with God. Like, when you left that church, did you kind of start to question your relationship with God a little bit, or did you at times feel like?
I my faith is so strong. It has nothing to do with the people in the church. And that's why when you said that about your brother, I said, yeah, that's because he changed his life, because he had his faith in God, not in man. But my faith towards God never changed. I just never stepped foot back in the church.
So did you feel when you left that church and when you were feuding with the church, did you view yourself differently as a Christian?
Actually, no, because I still do things. You know, I still do the things that I'm not supposed to do. That's not in the Bible. I mean, that I do opposite of what the Bible tells us what to do. Let's put it that way. But I said, when that time comes for me to change, then I would like to change completely and not be half-ass in this and half-ass in another way. So it's just not my time yet. That's it. Yeah. But I have faith in God. I believe in him strongly. I believe that he's the only one that have our faith in our lives in his hands. And so much things that happen to me till I can't question that there is no God. I can't question it. Sure. It is strong. But like I said, I still go out, I still drink, I still party, and but my faith is just still there. It's just I'm not ready.
No, I understand. And the thing is, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's sometimes people, they get that confused. They'll sit there and say, well, if you're not a part of a church family, how Christian can you be? Probably more Christian than you are.
Yeah.
I
believe, right, out of that 30, like I'm going to use the church, 36 states. Out of 50,000 people, there's only one that's like really genuine. That's the way how I see it. And it's just, this world is just so messed up with religion. Is, I think this is why we're going through half the shit that we're going through in this country right now with the COVID and the testing, and we're all being tested at this point. That's the way how I feel. I mean, because there's so many fake people out here, it's like I just don't know what to say anymore. I just had to say that little part about everybody. And when you say, oh, someone told you, and I kind of got a crack in my mouth a little bit with a smile when you said someone sent you a text telling you to watch it. I mean, what does that person want you to watch? I mean, they're on your text when you invite people to come on. You say what you want, say freely, blah 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 blah. But it seems like you still have to be careful what you're doing right now. You still have to be careful.
That's because we live in the cancel culture era. And that's what I was saying in the beginning, because anything that you say, then all of a sudden people want to make this petition online to cancel you. Yeah. And it's like, wow, do you really have that much power? But yeah, that's that. I'm just guessing. I'm not the one that sent the text, but that's the way I read that. And then, like I said, it's sad. We're extreme truth. So we don't bite our tongues.
Not at all.
We still have to bite our tongues a little. If you know what I mean. Because of the industry that we're in and the cancel culture, and everybody's so sensitive in this new era that we're living through right now. So that comes with
what I just said. Hope you don't get canceled, because what I said is just my experience, and that's why I tell my experience with the church. And people were in it.
What's so ironic about it is the person that sent me that text, I know personally what religion did to this person. And I'm not going to say religion. I'm sorry. I know personally what her family did to her in the name of religion. They did things to her that should not be done to anyone. I mean, to the point where they forced her to marry someone that was abusing her because he got her pregnant, and she was a underage teenage mom, and they forced her to marry this man because they didn't want to look bad in the eyes of the church. So when it was brought up to them, like, well, what about your daughter? It was, well, God is watching. Again, sometimes people conflate religion with God. And I see that quite often. They're more focused on the physical building of the church or on their peers or their leadership in the church. And in pursuit of trying to impress these people from the church, they're doing these terrible things, but they're hiding behind that. Oh yeah, this person had an abortion. They can't come to this church. They got to leave. Why? Because they're violating God's laws. Well, is that up to you to determine that? Or is that up to God to determine? Because last I checked, you don't have that kind of power. But other people and other individuals that are around you, they gave you that power. The one thing about it is power absolutely has the power to corrupt. Power can corrupt. And at times, people allow power to corrupt them. And I think that it needs to be called out. And I think that's the main reason. And those, I see your hand. But I think that that's part of the reason for this episode. Because again, I've had friends of mine who have been rejected by the church and they become suicidal.
Yep.
I've had friends of mine that have literally been forced to live lives that they didn't want to live because they wanted to impress the church.
Yep.
They wanted to impress people in a building or in a religion that odds are probably doing way worse stuff or other bad things, because this person is saying, well, I'm higher up in this religion, or I know more about this religion, so you need to live this way. So that's really who we're talking about. We're talking about, again, not religion, not the structure, the individuals. So, Nosa, I see you got your hand up.
Yes, I just want to clarify a comment that I typed when I said that, the only human excuse. Because that's what I hear a lot. Let me explain. All right, so it was a guy I was with recently. I broke up with him quick, obviously, because he was too much of a hypocrite for me. So one day I said, you know what? I'll never be with you. I swear to God. Oh, let's swear on God. It's actually written in the Bible. They swear on God. Somebody name in vain, this, that, and the third. But 30 minutes into the conversation after I said that, he said, oh, I swear to God. I said, bro, you just told me 30 minutes ago that, name in vain. And you know what he said to me? Well, I'm only human. I'm backslidden. I said, bro, when was the last time you been to church? He said 2 years ago. I said, I haven't been to church for 10 years. So what's your point? I'm only human. Am I not only human too? Why does everyone is not to me?
Yeah, everybody is.
And once again,
I agree. But why are you judging me for saying I swear to God? And you was old. I said, get the fuck out of my house. Guys sneaking through out my fucking door, push him out the door. I can't take that hypocritical shit. Like, what the fuck wrong with you? Like, so I just wanted to clarify what I mean. Sorry, thank you.
That's all right. Cool. Loretta, so you had your hand up and you've been in the chat.
Loretta been keeping that chat alive. What's up, Skip? Let's talk to us.
No, I'm good. I'm gonna chill for now, so I can get my thoughts together. So when I say, it'll be planned out to comment correctly in what my thoughts are. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So I'll be back. I'll raise my hand.
We want to hear that viewpoint now.
Yeah.
So what I put in the church was, because I do go to church, and I am a leader. I am a youth leader at that. And so I've been in the church my entire life. I was raised in the church. And so there are church folk and there are Christians, and there's a huge difference. Church folk are the ones that y'all are referring to, Christians or not. And so me as a Christian, I do not judge. It's not my place to judge. I have no heaven nor hell to put anybody in. And so I put in the chat that, all humans, ain't nobody who's living and breathing without sin. So if anybody says they're perfect, they're lying. I don't care who they are. When it comes down to the church building, it's brick and mortar. It is not the actual religion. It is not the church. The church is of the people. The church is the people. And so when someone tries to either condemn us as a Christian, not the church folk, because I'm not church folk, I'm bothered by it. I don't come for them because it's a waste of my energy, and it didn't provide a way to show them this is what a Christian does. And so I live my life in a certain way where how can I judge somebody else for what they do or don't do when I'm not perfect, and I'm never going to be perfect. I never strive to be perfect because it's unattainable. And so for those people who are church folk and chase people who want to become a part of
the body, but not necessarily the building, that's when I have a problem. And so I addressed it accordingly. I don't have to become a belligerent. I don't have to become loud. I don't even have to raise my voice above a whisper or a normal tone. And that's what it's about. If we're supposed to be, as Christians or whatever religion that you are, as far as the organization of a religion and not the manipulation of what is called, quote, a religion, then we will bring, or we will not try to convert people. We will allow them to make that decision for themselves. Like a prostitute has come into my church right off the street, running from her pimp. And she felt like because it was a church, that was her sanctuary. We never chased her away. She came in, you could tell she was a prostitute. Did we chase her away? No. Were there church folk in the building who were like, oh, yes. And you know what the Christians did? We accepted her. We covered her up and we protected her. That's what it's about. And so when I say I needed to think more about it, I'm just speaking off of just whatever. But I don't feel the need to address anybody because everybody has their own experience, and I'm not going to apologize on behalf of that religion because I'm not part of that body of church folk who did whatever it was to them. But I just wish that you didn't experience that, and that's the only thing I will apologize for, because that experience is not something that is conducive. It's not healing, and it's not what my personal religion as a Baptist is about, and that's it.
I appreciate it, but actually, the thing is, you actually have nothing to apologize for, because
no. And what I say that because I sympathize and I empathize, because I was quote unquote a teen mom at 19. I was pregnant. There were some church folk who judged me, and then there were the Christians who embrased me and guided me, as you're supposed to do with the young people, and that's why I'm still a youth leader. At 3 years young with 2 grown children, one in college, one who's on her own. I embrace the young people because a church without young people is dead. And so I'm one to help embrace them and usher them in if that's what they choose to do, not because they're forced to do. And if they come in church with their pants off their tail, if they come in church and they're inappropriately dressed, I pull them aside as we're supposed to do and not embarrass them to say, hey, baby, do you need something? You know, because that may be the only thing that they have to wear. If they have sweatpants, shorts, do-rag, you know, we're supposed to lead them and guide them. And that's what adults do in general, as we're supposed to do in life. So to say I do it because I'm a Christian, I do it because I'm a Baptist, that's only part of my story in there. Yeah.
And you know what? That's the perfect. See, people like you, that's what we need more of. Unfortunately, and again, not in all churches, but in certain churches, as in with all large organizations, people like you are kind of drowned out because you have a pureness of heart. You're doing it because you genuinely want to help. So people like you, we're thankful for people like you. We really are. So the people that we're really going after tonight are the people that are doing the exact opposite.
No, I get it.
And they're protected at times by the church, or they hide behind the church. I think that not just the church, the mosque, the synagogue, I think that with all religions, as with all organizations, people have a tendency to protect their own, even if their own is sometimes wrong. So,
and that's any organization.
Yeah, it's any organization.
Organizations do that.
I think it also depends, though. I think it also depends. I think it depends on the leadership. I think it depends on what the, not agenda, but what the goal is for that particular organization of the religion body. I think it all depends. Because in my church, my pastor's not having that. No, he ain't having it. You know what I'm saying? It's not, let somebody come in there and they're abusing a child. Oh, he's not having it. No, absolutely not.
Well, those are the best types. What was it, Eddie Long? When there were accusations from these young men that he molested them. So the young men came forward with these charges, and a lot of people from his church were attacking these young men before the evidence even came out. And sometimes these people, they have this blind loyalty to a person or to a building or to an organization or to that power structure. So they use that blind loyalty to this organization that they feel is all-knowing or infallible. So they feel that, well, if I'm a part of this organization that's infallible, I'm good. I'm covered. I can do what I want because at the end of the day, I'm a part of this infallible group. You're not. You're not living the way of this infallible group. And people like that, unfortunately, cast a negative image on religion. I think that's the best way. I think they cast a negative image on religion. And so I know that when we first came on, everybody said, "Oh boy, y'all about to go after religion. Y'all about to say, oh, the devil this and the Bible that, and y'all gonna start burning crosses." No, we're not doing all of that.
Right. Where's Dro at? I think Dro had her hand up too, right?
Did she? I don't know. Did she?
She can speak now. Get the other half of the tag team champions. We already had one half of the tag team champions. Go ahead and tag a tag team partner, but maybe she can't speak right now.
No, she can't speak. So I kind of want to hear from other people in the room. Like, what are your views or on this topic itself, or even some of your past experiences with people that are hiding behind religion, or that have done things and are hidden behind religion. I really want to give people the opportunity to speak on this, because I think this is an important conversation that needs to be had, because in all honesty, I think that's what's pushing people away from the church. I say this as someone who does not go to church, but I'm friends with a lot of church folks. And I go to churches for events. I'm very spiritual. But yeah, I think this is a conversation that needs to be had. So I know people at times get nervous to talk about it because it's such a controversial topic, and they don't want to be seen talking about it. They don't want to be seen disagreeing.
Religion, politics, and race is usually three things that's off topic for most people. So I think the ones that have spoke, I get it. Yeah,
because sometimes people get nervous. They're like, you know what? I don't want to say nothing and get struck by lightning. So
that's why Icon's upstairs.
That way he get struck by himself.
Why do I need to strike a pimp? No.
So, all right. Anybody got any comments on this one? Anybody want to talk about their views of religion? Everybody quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Let me run through.
Everybody's scared.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody don't want to talk shit.
Look like Sammy's talking. She got to take that mic off.
I mean, she's pointing at me.
Well,
she giving you the
come on,
Sammy,
so
you know what?
Something.
So you know what, Samantha, we got you in a second. iPhone got a hand up first, and we coming right to you right after. All right.
Oh yeah. What you saying?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Sammy souped over there. Don't be confused. We're gonna get to you. Don't take it out on the system. We'll be right there to you, Sammy.
I'm gonna try not to be a nuisance, but the young lady that was on last, I really enjoyed the way how she talked. So I just wanted her to hear that part, and I wanted to say thank you for letting me hear, another side. To see people that are still like the way how she is, to see that the congregation she belongs to, when she made an example about a hooker coming into church and they didn't run her out, and they serve her, took care of her, whatever, so forth. But I just wanted to believe that there's some people are still out there who are genuine and who are good Christians, and not only Christians. I mean, we're not talking about. I wasn't talking about churchgoers. I was actually talking about pastors who uses their background and have their title to cover. But I'm glad that she just touched my heart, and I am just glad. If I'd known where her church is, I'd probably be there on Sunday, to be honest with you. But I want to thank her, and that's all I got to say.
There you go, Loretta. Loretta, change your hearts already.
You're most welcome, and we can definitely get in touch. And if you can't get physically to the building, we are virtual. So I'll put my information in the chat, and anybody who'd like to reach out to me for any reason, you're more than welcome.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
There we go. See, and people thought we were just gonna be bashing religion. See, we making connections. We getting people to new churches.
Right. And I'm looking through the room right now, and I could tell you everybody here that I know is good people. So I know there's some people that actually have their own ministries and things like that also. So by all means, if you want to come on and talk or promote, by all means, we're here.
Yeah, reach out to the chat.
Right.
Yeah. Samantha.
But these are the type of people we want you to meet, because like I said, there's so many bad apples out there. It gives you a negative feeling on that. So
yeah.
Thank you, Loretta. Appreciate that, Skittles. Sammy, she can stop beating children now, Sammy. Stop beating the children. We'll let you on. We'll let you speak. Let the child go. Let the child go. We're going to let you speak now, okay, Sammy? I'm talking to you. Yeah, take that mic off. Don't abuse me. I know I'm up the street from you right now.
She got that belt in the hands.
I see.
She going to reach out and touch somebody.
Unleash that mic. Uh-oh, look at that. The child's fighting back.
I'm about to hit the mic. Like, what's wrong with y'all? Oh my goodness. Let me tell y'all what I don't like about certain things what Christians do. Bag it up. They'll tell you in a heartbeat.
Go ahead.
Would you be quiet? Let me finish my sentence.
You're a Christian too, but go ahead.
Let me finish my sentence. They always talk about, oh, you supposed to be married before you have a child, but look what they do. They had a child before they got married. How much sense does that make? And that blows me up. I'm not perfect. Let me tell you, I have 5 boys, and trust me, I ain't not with neither one of the fathers.
That's why you got all that energy keeping up with them boys right there, right?
Yes, I'm working out like 24/7 with them. I wish they would go away.
What energy? She tired than a motherfucker right now. What you mean energy? The energy gone. She tired as hell.
Yes, that's why I don't even have no time to myself. Everybody calling me, saying what you doing. Shh. Home with these boys, because I can't. It's hard.
Poor baby.
We about to send the usher out there to go help you out in the house.
Yeah, we always, as of right now, it is an episode going on at the same time, and it's definitely at Samantha's house. You know what I'm saying? We got all types of shit going on in there.
Like, come on, it's gonna be my party house anyway. I throw parties constantly just for them. I'm supposed to be doing a back to school thing for them on the 28th.
You need to send a little one over here. I'll straighten his ass up.
Actually, I'm gonna send all 3 of them, the 3 little ones. The big one, I'm about to send him to sleep.
Well, let me know when they're on the way up so I can call my Uber. I'll call my Uber, so let me know when they're on the way up the hill, okay?
Yes.
Okay, so it seems like iPhone got the hands up again.
Is it the same hand or is it a new one? Can't tell.
Might be a new one.
It's a new one. It's not me.
Okay. Okay. There's a new iPhone. No, that's still your hands. So is that the same one from before?
I think it was the same one from before. I don't know why. But...
Hang on. I got you. All right. We got you. All right. So yeah, anybody else? I mean, if you got any views on, experience that you've had with people have hidden behind religion, if you think that maybe we're just too extra with it, if you think that maybe we're casting too hard of a light, too broad of a net, I think that we've done a pretty good job of simplifying, of separating.
I got it.
I'm sorry. Somebody was saying something. Hang on. Who was this? I think somebody, Jade. Yeah, Jim, did you have a question?
No.
Okay.
They had nothing. She said, "Oh shit!" That's what happened. She said, "Oh shit." You know what I'm saying?
But I really felt that this was a conversation that needed to be had because I've seen a lot of people. I think that the idea came up one night when I was just watching Peter Popoff, and I was watching these 4:00 in the morning BET ministers, and like I said, the thing that really got to me is when he said there are people on welfare that can donate to this church. Why can't you? And that really irked me because I looked at the fact that a lot of these people were vulnerable people, and people often go to church when they're vulnerable. A lot of these people are recovering, whether it be from abuse, spiritual, mental, sexual, drug abuse, their own issues in life. Some people are running from something when they go to church, which is okay. Sometimes you're running to try to get away from where you are to try to find salvation, which is good. And the reason I think that we need to go after these people that are in these religious groups and they're exploiting these people is because, again, you're taking advantage of the disadvantaged. I think it's a different way of saying it, but these people are struggling with things. I remember there was a church in Newark that I was at, and this person came in. They were a drug addict. You could tell they were crackhead. And this church has a lot of I don't want to call them uppity, but well-to-do people.
Mm-hmm.
And this woman came in, and crackhead, and she came in there and had beat up clothes on, and she said, "Hey, I need to speak to the pastor." And this guy who was security just asking, he's questioning her. "What do you need to see him for? What do you want? Donations come on Saturday. Oh, if you want food, the pantry's tomorrow." And she said, "I just need to speak to the clergy, please." And the guy said, "Well, what do you need to tell him? I'll tell him for you, and I'll let you know if he can come out." And then she just said, "You know what? I'll just leave." And as she was walking out, someone else who was in the church said, "Hey, you know what? Let me talk to you." And this was just a regular member of the church that said, "Let me just talk to you." Someone like that would have given up faith and gone right back out into the streets and done probably worse than they were doing before. So again, this is why I'm calling these types of people out that are doing these terrible things and they're hiding behind their religion or hiding behind the power that they believe the church gives them. Queen Diva, see you got your hand up, birthday girl.
Hey.
Hey.
Can you hear me good?
I can, yes.
Okay. You're not bashing when you're stating facts, right?
Yeah.
How about the pastor that's walking around with a Rolex on his watch and got a big fancy name brand car outside, while you have a lady that's in there throwing dues or whatever you call it, and don't have food to put on her table. But yes, so he's around flaunting all of his riches. Instead of him using that money to help those in need, he's making sure his pocket's big. They got a lot of pastors out there like that. Then you have the priest who's using hiding behind the church while he's molesting those little boys. You know what I mean? Let's talk about that. It's not bashing, it's just stating facts. There's a lot of them hiding behind religion. You know, you as a parent trusting your little boy, trusting him with your little boy, and next thing you know, he's harassing your little boy. How many cases out there like that? There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
You know, it is what it is. When you talk about a subject like this, people get all in their feelings, but hey, there's the media and the paper and proof that it's facts. So it is what it is.
I think that people sometimes they latch on to religion, not all the time, but some people they latch on to religion for validation, again, because they may be going through things in their life. So if you attack them, if you attack the structure or the power of the religion, you're attacking the one thing that they think holds them together. Because some people just need validation. And unfortunately, they're trying to validate themselves to, at times, people or sometimes buildings that don't necessarily have their best interests at heart. And so, again, that's why we're going after these individuals, again, not the religion. But thanks, Queen Diva. Corey, my brother. It's like your first comment in like forever.
Hey, yeah, I've been in and out. I've been on like 2 different calls at one time, so I've been listening in. So, but this has been great from what I've heard so far. I just want to make a quick point, and I'm sure somebody, other people have already said. I think people use religion to hide their own bias or use it to justify their own bias and hate. It's one thing to say, I don't like X, Y, and Z because I just don't like it. I don't agree with it versus I don't like X, Y, and Z because of religion. Like a lot of people, I don't like gay marriage because the religious aspect, but there's a lot of things in the Bible that you still follow, even though you're so religious. So if you just don't like something, if you don't like gay marriage, if you don't like then just say that, just say that up front. I respect you more if you just be upfront with your own opinions and, you can agree or disagree. Also, I just want to, similar to what you said, Jimmy, just now, I heard I saw something online, some post. It was probably one of those words of wisdom or something like that. But it was a post that said this guy, he was at church, his phone went off in the church, it rang, and all these people were like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that. You should have had your phone on silent. How dare you? How dare you interrupt service? This is so rude." He drove home with his wife. His wife was just digging into him about how bad this was, that his phone went off in church and interrupted service. So he was so thrown off by that, he didn't even want to go back to church. So then he went and turned around and went to the bar to kind of relieve himself and kind of de-stress from the experience. And while at the bar, he spilled some like a drink on the bar, and people were like, "Oh, don't worry about it. You know, this is fine. Mistakes happen. Let me clean this up. Let me get you another drink." So from that experience, he got more love at the bar than he did at church. So now he'll be more likely to go to the bar for his relief and for the uplifting versus church where he had that trauma. So I think the lesson from that is sometimes, you know, you're so hard on people when they're in the church, so many rules, you have to walk such a fine line that you don't dig right into the person. You're not uplifting the person, just uplifting the institution. So that's all I have to say.
Yes.
Excellent,
I love
point,
that.
Buddy. Excellent point. You should talk more, man. Always appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's, as Corey said, I mean, I couldn't have put it better myself. That people are sometimes more focused on uplifting the institution, the building, the pastor, but not the individuals. And that's really what church is supposed to be about.
Right. And you as the person, you can't let this particular individual have that much power over you. You know what I'm saying? You have to balance it all out. It's just like with getting good advice. You can take good advice for somebody, but the thing that you're going through, they might have never been through. So you have to take their advice and dissect it and see, okay, is it going to work for this? What's the pros? What's the cons about things? You know what I'm saying? Same thing with religion. You know what I mean? When you're reading the Bible or you're following God, because once again, those can be two different things for people, depending on what. You know, you have to apply that to your life and you have to go on. If you just listen to this person and this person's giving you all this power on what you shouldn't do and should do and this, that, whatever, and they're not even living the same thing. They're not practicing what they preach. So why are you giving this person that much power? They're not just leading by example. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oof. Yeah, this was a good one. This is a good episode.
The heavy hitters come out tonight.
Yeah,
and
we
Jimmy,
did. Yes.
Jimmy, some of those same pastors who speak against gay, the same one who molested them little boys. Okay, thank you.
Or a lot of them are gay. What's so crazy? A lot of them are gay themselves because again, they feel that they have to uphold this lifestyle for the church or for their buildings, for their congregations. It was one of those guys, Ted Haggard, that they found out was gay. And I believe they locked him in a building for like a week. And the people of the church forced him to pray and kneel and read the Bible and go through scripture to get the gay out of him.
Wow.
And this was like a very well-respected pastor. And he said, you know what? I'm sorry, I'm still gay. And there's a battle going on because now the church is trying to evict him from his home that they gave him.
Wow.
He said his faith hasn't changed. He just happens to be gay. And they're trying to evict him from his home because they say you don't represent Christianity. You don't represent this church.
That's deep.
Yeah. And this is a man who brought thousands of followers to them, was world famous, and they kicked him out for that reason. And, you know, those people
what's funny, ironically, just to do a retrospect of that, right? Or flip it on another side. When I was down in Jacksonville, me and my sister, we was actually a part of, well, she was a part of the church, period, but me, I was a part of the praise team. And it was like the church was actually LGBTQ. Please excuse me if I'm leaving letters out or doing it wrong. I don't want to get any trouble. But it was for that lifestyle of church. Like the pastor, the pastor was a woman. She had a wife. The first lady was a woman. And, you know, once again, they showed nothing but love. Nobody was judging me because I was straight or my sister was straight. You know, we were just going there, getting the word, singing, and you know, just enjoying life, and you know, the life that we walk and trying to be faithful to our religion. So that's ironic. Now you have somebody that's a pastor in this church who has all the power. As soon as they says one thing that I guess they don't like or believe in, and you're trying to evict them in, you're locking them in a room. Really? Is that really godlike?
Yeah. Yeah. My advice to people always is just, you know, read your holy books, read them all. But also look into yourself. If you really want to know what you need to be doing in life, don't look to others.
Absolutely.
The truth is in your essence. The body is a temple. So your body is the church. Yep. So if you're confused about something or if you want to know about it, look to yourself. Follow yourself. Listen to that little thought in your head. Yep. As long as it's not saying do anything crazy. But listen to that little voice that's inside of you. Stop trying to fit into a mold that you're told that you have to fit into.
Right.
I think that's the problem with a lot of society now, is that people are told that they have to fit into this certain mold, or they have to be this type of person, or they have to live their life this type of way to fit in with everyone else. But the problem is people aren't meant to fit in. They're not. There's something that I've said, it was either on this show or my other podcast, For the Rise. I said, if you think about what happens with, let's just use, for instance, high schools. If you look at a high school, let's just say you have 100 kids. How many kids do you think are popular? Maybe 10, tops 15. And we need to understand who makes these kids popular. It's the other 85 kids that are there. And if those other 85 understood their own power and lived their own life, instead of trying to fit in and impress these other 15, think about how much happier they'll be. I think it's the same thing with the church.
Absolutely.
Don't go there trying to impress your pastor, your deacons, your elders. Don't go there trying to impress them. Go do the same type of studying they did. Get your own understanding on your own.
Don't be trying to get no church stick.
Yeah. So don't be trying to, don't try to fit in and be like them.
And see, that's crazy too, what Icon said, because a lot of times when I'll be talking, like, oh, what's a good place to meet women or whatever, and people say now, oh, go to church. Like, I'm not going to church for a dating service. That's not the reason why church is there. You know what I mean? Yeah, people have that mentality. No.
Oh yeah. So,
but I definitely like to thank everybody that stopped through and who spoke. I know a couple of my brothers from the men's ministry from Agape Love Network tuned in tonight, so I definitely appreciate y'all for stopping by.
Hold on, Legend. Hold on. You got some Christian ministry here right now, Legend? And I'm over here saying church stick, and you got Christians over here?
Icon.
Damn.
He was going to say it anyway, so.
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, you did tell them it was extreme, right? You did tell them it was extreme.
They know.
Well, hang on a second. Hang on. Right. We actually have someone that has a comment. Gregory Devon. Hopefully, I'm saying your name properly.
Greg, what's going on, brother? You just got to unmute yourself.
What's going on?
How are you?
Good. I probably been on about 15 minutes. Some good points have been made. I want to say this. I think that when it comes to the church and us having issues, I think sometimes we have to learn how to speak truth to power and have these conversations sometimes with local pastors in your community, because sometimes, believe it or not, the same way a CEO can be clueless to certain things, the same way a pastor can also. Now, if said pastor is the problem, that's a different conversation. But I think that there are even some things that get misinterpreted about pastors and bishops. This is the third. I heard a comment in regard to pastors who may drive a nice car, but someone in their church may be struggling. This is going to sound very, very harsh, but if the pastor had a Pinto, that person would still have a problem. The issue is not the pastor. The issue is not the pastor having a nice car. The issue is when pastors do not teach good stewardship. I'm not talking about simply tithing. I mean how to manage your entire life, manage your money, manage your time and your talent. And that is what's missing sometimes, is that there are certain things that get misappropriated. And then even as parishioners, we have to realize that when we have certain issues with our church, with our pastor, well, it's our job to go to that person, him or her, and say what your issue is. Because if we never speak what needs to change to those who can change it, it would never get changed.
Absolutely.
And in regard to what else was this is a very necessary conversation. It really is. And I'm a pastor, by the way.
Right. Okay. Awesome.
But what needs to happen is that the church has to understand what outreach really is. Church is actually not for those who are already in the church. Church is for the whosoever wills that are outside the church. to get them in, to then go back out and bring some more in. But what happens a lot of times is that church, we have a habit sometimes of catering to those who are already here. And what happens is we forget where we came from. We forget that way back when we were the ones who turned a frown eye to the church because we said that they're being judgmental. Now, the caveat to that is we also have to accept what the church has to say about those on the outside. Now, it is not about being critical, but it is about understanding that the church has a certain stance on certain things. You know, I'm a pastor who does not believe that because you're gay, you don't love God. No, you do. Now, do I agree with the lifestyle? No. But you can love God and still be gay. You can love God and be a liar. You can love God and be a fornicator. At the end of the day, everybody has a hang up. But the problem is that we have to learn how to not be so critical in and outside the church, and learn how to have a real conversation that those will understand. You know what? I got issues, but that pastor still loves me. You know, if I'm the pastor, I have to realize, you know what? I cannot preach brimstone, fire and brimstone. That solves nothing until I can teach people, first of all, in their intellect. Like if I have a theology that never reaches your mind, have you changed your life? What am I doing? And we're preaching too much to people's emotion and not their brain. And that's what happens. That's why men, and I'm gonna end here. That's why men sometimes are missed from the church. It's because men do not want to come to anything and have their emotions spark. We want to learn, be empowered, that when we leave, if it comes down to being a Malcolm X or MLK, I have a mind to make a choice and a smart decision. That's all, fellas.
Well, we really is.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Gregory, let me address something to you.
Sure.
Let me elaborate a little bit. When I made reference to the pastor driving a fancy car, it wasn't so, I think you took it to, it wasn't so much about the fancy car itself. It's the fact that when people throw their hard-earned tithes to the church, most of that money is not supposed to be going into the pocket of the pastor. He's supposed to be using that money to rebuild the church and rebuild the community and help people, like you said, outreach to people out there. The pastor should not be getting the most of that tithes that's being collected. That's my point I was trying to make. The car was just a little example. So of course,
I get it.
You got it?
And I understand. I think what happens is, just like with corporations, we don't know exactly what's in the boardroom is going on unless we're in the boardroom. Same thing happens inside of the church. We make a lot of assumptions about certain things because we just don't know. The reality is it's easy for us to point a finger and say the church should do this. But what happens when the church says, what about this school we built that you won't send your child to? Or what about this business that we have that you won't support? So we have to be able to hear it on both ends and realize that the church has to improve, yes, but the church has done a lot, because we would not be on this podcast and have this freedom of speech as Black people had it not been for who? The church. We would still be in chains had it not been for the church.
But all
I'm just saying we have to hear it on both ends.
Right, but all churches are not the same. All pastors are not the same. So we're not speaking about the pastors who are out there doing what they're supposed to be doing as a pastor. We're talking about the ones who are not. You know what I mean? And I know stories, actually, a pastor who was kicked out of the church because of things that they were doing in the church. So yes,
and so do I.
Kudos,
I get it.
Kudos to the ones like you when others who doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Remember, one of the first, I said first of all that this is a necessary conversation. So I'm not knocking the conversation. I'm saying that we have to have it on both ends, and we have to be able to give and to receive.
Right,
I agree.
Exactly.
Hold on, and I, just want to say this. When I look at pastors and stuff like that with big cars and stuff like that. Me personally, I have a totally different outlook. You know what I'm saying? I am not be saying, oh, why they driving that fancy car? I'm like, okay, shoot. I see them run from a little ass church to a whole damn 2 blocks. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing do a whole bunch of stuff. His ass better have a damn Cadillac. His ass should be in a nice ass house. Shit, everybody that's doing good should be living good. Stop hating. Stop goddamn hating. That's what I'm saying.
I think
You gotta think. Hold up, but at this, hold up. But let me bring that back around. But at the same time, we do have to realize, churches are a corporation and people do have to make a living. And if they're doing good and expanding, we expect them to make some money.
Absolutely.
Well,
it says in the Bible, you got to pay the man for his works.
All right. Yes. So this is my thing with that. And I actually am in agreement with you. I'm not opposed to anyone making money. I'm not opposed to anyone doing well personally. And to the pastor's point, the church, the people, there are people that will always be haters, no matter what type of success you have, they will never be happy for you. I think that because I think we covered this a little bit earlier, I think it's more in reference to the pastors that are using the church specifically to enrich themselves and not to necessarily help the community. So
exactly.
Legend actually knows that there's a church that I volunteer at. And this church is like the size of a closet. And every week while I'm there, we feed at least 300 people. And we give them at least 2 weeks worth of food. And this small, tiny church that maybe holds 15 people. That's it.
Those are some of the best. Those are some of the best sometimes.
And when you sit down, you speak to this pastor, you can see where his heart is. You can see that he's a positive person. And this man is driving a minivan, But even if he were the type that was driving a Benz, hey, if he was making that money on the outside, from having his own businesses, I'm in favor of that. Larita, I see your hand. I got you. But I've actually been in an experience with a church that my family had gone to literally for generations. And a new pastor came in and there were all these new fees. So you had your tithes, you had your offering, and then it would be another plate. There would be another collection plate. And then if you want to get married, there were these new fees to get married. There was a funeral. There were new fees for a funeral. And people started to wonder, like, where's all this money going? But yet the pastor always had a new Benz. He always had a new Cadillac. And at that point, people are starting to wonder, like, well, you're asking for all of this new money, but nothing else is being built. The church isn't being improved upon. There's no businesses. And I think that pastors like that give these other pastors that are doing positive things, like the one at the church that I volunteer at, a bad name. Another thing is sometimes you have pastors that, to use a wrestling term, preach just to get a pop. You have certain pastors that aren't necessarily focused on saving souls. They're more preaching to get attention. They're more preaching, oh, how many people can I get to hoot and holler? Sometimes they fall in love with their own power. And again, I think those are the ones that we're talking about tonight. So if we see that they're doing that, I think that we need to hold them accountable. And I think that that's a big thing. We need to not just check them, check ourselves. We have to sometimes wonder, are they really saying anything to me? Are they really hitting home? Are they really breaking down the Bible? Are they really helping me to live the life that I need to live? Or are they just saying something to make me feel good on Sunday?
Right.
So, Pastor Devin, hopefully I'm saying your name correctly. I appreciate you for coming on and for saying that this conversation needed to be had. And that was really the purpose of this episode. One of the parts that I believe that you missed in the beginning was that we were actually attacked for even discussing this. People were attacking us on social media for even discussing the idea of people hiding behind religion.
No, there was attacking Legend.
I was attacked too.
Right, me of all people, right?
Nobody attacked me.
Well, I was attacked for people. So people actually went after me saying, "Well, why would you talk about this? But you better make sure you have your facts straight. You're attacking religion, not attacking religion. None of this show was about religion.
No,
it's about.
That's what I was trying to point out in the beginning. Right.
We need to learn how to separate God from the religion, from the people.
Right.
They're not all one and the same.
One and the same, exactly.
They're not, because you're still dealing with individuals with individual personalities, with individual goals. So we just wanted to address the people that are doing these terrible things. Loretta, I'm sorry, I know you had your hand up. Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's okay. You know I'm a patient person.
We appreciate that.
I just wanted to
vibes on and everything. Go ahead, Skittles. Go on.
I just wanted to talk about, as far as my pastor and my church. He's the third pastor in the building of my church. He's a young pastor. He used to be, when I say that the pastor died, second pastor retired because of health issues, which normally doesn't happen in a Baptist church. And my pastor now is in his early 50s. His wife is one of my closest friends. I've gone to India RE concerts with her. Understand, like, these are just, they are leaders in the church, but they're regular people. And people like, you going to a concert with she was a deaconess at the time. I say, yeah, don't be mad because my deaconess is better than yours, because she's a person. You know what I mean? She's a person. She's very relatable. And so even with my first lady emeritus, which means it's the last first lady, somebody who's no longer the first lady, that's what emeritus means. There was a time in my life where I had an abortion, and I went to her and I said, this is what the situation is. This is the, I don't believe in it unless it's, rape or incest. And I was very torn, and I was forced kind of to make this decision. She never judged me. She said, baby, if you need me, you let me know. If you need money for transportation to get there, if that's the decision you need to make for you, you let me know. And it broke me down, because I never thought that the first lady would not judge me and help me to make a decision that was one of the most crucial ones in my life. And then the pastor that's now, guess what? He drives a BMW. He has a motorcycle. And there was a time people were criticizing, oh, he's getting that from the church money. He's getting that from the church money. No, he's a CFO of Cantor Fitzgerald. You know what I'm saying? He got that from his hard-earned separate business. But the thing that people sometimes don't understand is that these pastors are in, they have their outside careers. Yes, they may get a love offering from when they preach, and there are offerings, but guess what? It costs money to keep the building lights on, to keep the air conditioning in the summer, to have heat in the winter, to be able to pay gas bills. And they do have functions, electricity. It takes money to keep the building running. And so I'm speaking on that portion, on his back, on those type of pastors he has. And guess what? He doesn't live in the church house. There is a house that is given to the pastors. You know what he did? He said, I'm not going to live in that building. Let's convert that building into a daycare. And there was the church who blocked it. There was one person individually who actually stopped that from happening. He said that church, that house has a lot of property in the backyard. It's a huge house. Let's convert it to something that we can use for the community. You know what I'm saying? And it was blocked by one individual, a church folk. And so we have to be very wary when we are looking from the outside and don't know the ins and outs of what's going on. As Pastor Devon said, you're criticizing the board, but you're not on the board. You don't know what it takes to run these different ministries. We do outreach. We do have a pantry. We have clothes that we give out. Like, I don't have clothes. Like, I have clothes that I no longer fit. So I donated it to the church. We had a youth pastor who she went in she's the national chief. She's the chief of the National Parks Department, the first Black woman, made history. And she gathered her people who are of affluence to bring clothes and purses. And I'm not knocking Old Navy or Kmart or whatever. She had them bringing couture things. People brought things with tags and bought clothes to bring in. And church folk criticized her. And she said, well, you know what? Since it's not appreciated, let me take it to a homeless shelter. And that's what she did. So you have to be mindful of when you're saying, yeah, there are some pastors that use the money for wrong reasons, but there are the ones who are using it for the community, and they're building up the community instead of tearing it down. So if that pastor does drive a nice car and may have a Rolex, you have to sit back and say, did he earn that in his career?
Yeah.
And a lot of those good pastors are actually working behind closed doors. They don't need to tell you what they're doing when helping somebody pay their rent. They don't need to tell you what they're doing when they're helping fix up somebody's apartment or somebody's house, or putting construction together for somebody to make a better way of life for them. So the good pastors in the community really don't go out there and boast about it. They do it behind closed doors because it's not something that they need to brag about. It's something that they were put in a position to shepherd for people. And so they're out there doing the works, and people don't know about it. Why? Because it's none of your business. At the end of the day, it's none of your business what that pastor and what those church leaders are doing, those people behind closed doors. When I was mentored too about that abortion situation, it was nobody's business. But you know what? It changed my mind to later be able to leave. Those youth come to me and they trust me with things that they don't trust anybody else with. And I let them know, if you tell me something in confidence, it will stay between you and I, unless it's putting you in harm's way. Then I have to sit down with your parent and another person to mentor the situation and make it better. Like a young lady was being bullied. She being a teenager, and she sexted a picture to someone, and somebody took that picture and posted it on the internet. And that person that posted it on the internet was over 21. And I said to her mother, I said, we need to handle this, because now this young girl is under 18. That's child porn. Okay, let's handle this. My mother didn't listen to me. Unfortunately, she didn't press charges. Unfortunately, I was able to step in and mentor that baby to keep her from killing herself.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? She killed herself because of that. She said, my life is ruined. And I said, no, it's not, sweetheart. It's just a bump in the road, and you'll get over it. And today she's married with a young child.
There we go.
I love
married
a
with
happy
a young child. And she's a pillar.
Thank you for being that guidance in our life.
This was good, yo. First of all, you know what I'm saying? I personally like to thank Gregory Devine and Corey Lockett and Queen Diva. You know, y'all just made it very interesting. I was very in the zone of just paying attention and stuff like that. And thank you, Larita, just for, you know, just giving your positive 2 cents vibe that always works all the time, all the dime. You know what I'm saying? Thank you. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, this is a cool ass topic, and thank you for everybody for joining. First of all, I'd like to thank James Wiggins. This is the second time coming up on here. Thank you so much, my brother. You know I love you, man. Now you talking about me being a dancer. James Wiggins is probably one of the best male dancers I know.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? He knows. I mean, he knows my choreography that I don't remember 10 years ago. I am not lying. I am not lying. You know, but yeah. So thank you for everybody just coming out. And yo, Jimmy, what you about to say?
Well, everything you just said.
No. Yeah, hold on. Samantha, it looked like you were trying to get at the icon. What's up?
Woo!
Huh? Don't think I forgot. You know what happened was, you know, your trial behind you started fucking with you. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Sam. Don't be just looking like you don't know who I'm talking to. Yeah. Okay.
You talking to me tonight? Okay, I know. I don't know where you live at, because I'll be right at your front window talking about what you doing.
You can't mess with a Grant. Can't do that.
Right. So he was talking about me. That's why I'm looking like, what?
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. You know, I'm talking about you now. Come through that window. You're gonna be really excited.
Well, you know, we're gonna end it on that note.
Right.
For those that we really want to thank y'all all for coming out. This episode should be up soon. We're gonna post it up on YouTube. If you have not subscribed, please like and subscribe to the Extreme Truth Podcast Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube pages. That's XTREME Truth Podcast. Also, please like and subscribe to the Fall to Rise Podcast, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram pages. My episode that I did in Africa this weekend should be up hopefully tonight, or at least part of it. We actually broke news on that episode, as we've done on quite a few episodes. So definitely we appreciate all of y'all support. And we'll see y'all next week, because I think next week's show is going to be just as dicey as this one. Ooh. So once again, Thanks again.
We'll figure out something to piss people off by Monday. Yep.
Oh, I already have an idea.
Oh,
we'll talk after the cameras go off. So,
all right.
Seriously, thank y'all all. Get Icon.
Now listen. Icon 127 on Instagram, Twitter, James Icon Grant, and follow my Instagram, iConnections_productions LLC. So it's happening, and it's going to be videos on Extreme Truth this week.
Definitely.
Stop, Sammy. Stop. The hating episode was last week, not this Monday.
Yeah, that was last week.
The hating episode was on that last week. Stop hating. Gotta wait for us to get back around to a part 2. Stop hating.
Bring your ass through the window, Sammy. Come on.
Here we go. I'll open the door right downstairs.
Go ahead, Ledge. You guys need to promote? Any ways for people to contact you?
So like many of my haters reached out so much. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Legend Damian Simmons, just as it's spelled right down there. On YouTube, Facebook, as well as Instagram. I'm also part of the Agape Love Network, and I'm part of the men's ministry, along with Pastor Gregory Devon, as well as Brother Ahmed, who was here as well earlier, Ahmed Butler, and your brother, Joe. So we're usually bi-weekly. We're a part of the Agape Love Network. What is it? Singles Networking and Empowerment Group. You can also find us on YouTube as well as on Facebook as well. And we definitely thank you all for coming out. Lisa, I know it was your first time here, so thank you. Might be for Jay too, I'm not sure. Definitely thank you, Queen Diva, Shireen, Sammy, all hate and good love included. Larita, always a pleasure. You know what I'm saying? Did I get it?
Hang on.
You're always invited, brother. Love when you speak out. So, and then of course, can't forget the bestie. Thank you, Nosa. Appreciate you all. Hope to see y'all next week.
Most definitely.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Have a good one.
Good night, Lord.
Thanks, baby.
Adios.